Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Attack, always coming in last, bringing up the fast. No one owes you anything, I think. You need a shotgun blast, a kick in the ass, so paranoid. Watch your back.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for hopping on episode 7. This one might be a little deep. I drank my coffee already this morning, so now I'm drinking protein. Well, man, where do we start today? We have a problem in this country, and I'm sure this is gonna upset some people. And I'm gonna try to be as respectful as I can because I have a lot of people that I care about, that I respect, that I value as friends and family, that may not necessarily have the same opinion as me when it comes to these 2 items. And that's okay, right? If anybody knows me, we've talked about this before. It's okay to have a difference of opinion and a difference in philosophy or whatever else. But what I'm going to say is how I feel. Yesterday, there was a school shooting here in Des Moines. The Des Moines Police Department did an amazing job of responding so fast. They've already arrested somebody at a charter school for kids that are trying to find their way and trying to see what they can get their life turned around. And some 18-year-old kid went in and murdered 2 students and shot the founder of this school, Will Keeps. Like, what are we doing? What? I don't even understand where we're at with this. And I hear one side of the argument talking about, well, we need gun control and we need this and that. And then the other side says, well, it's not a gun problem. It's a mental health problem. Right. It's a mental health problem. But then we turn around and we start cutting funding for shit. Like, you can't say it's a mental health problem and then not fund to fix the fucking problem. That's not how that works. The people that sit here and say, well, the government shouldn't fix our problems, whatever. Okay, great. But somewhere, something's getting failed by these kids that they think the only option they have is to walk into a classroom and shoot somebody. Now, I don't know what the situation is with this particular shooting. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the school itself, and maybe it's a vendetta or whatever. I have no idea. I'm certainly not going to speculate on that. But hell, we had 2 other mass shootings in the United States just in the last 2 days. Like, it's Columbine, for fuck's sake. And we're still not fixing the problem? Why? What seems to be the problem? I don't get it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know that gun control is the answer. I do know that I think personally there's certain guns out there that should not be in a civilian's hands. There's no reason why some of these guns should be sold to civilians. None. They're made for one thing. And I'm not a gun person. I don't know. So this whole AR-15 argument, I'm not even going to get into it because that would be silly for me to start arguing like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, because I don't when it comes to that. I hear one side of the argument that says it shouldn't be out there. I hear another side out there that says it's not an automatic rifle. Okay. but they seem to be easily used in mass shootings. I mean, the majority of what I hear is an AR-15. Do you need something like that? I don't. I don't need that. And at what cost do we finally stand up? Clearly not enough. Clearly murdering elementary school kids in Sandy Hook, that wasn't enough to stop it. Let that sink in. Some a-hole with InfoWars who has millions of fucking people that listen to him touted that it was fake and the parents were faking their dead children. Wrap your head around that for a second. And people believed it and supported him. Like, how do we have people like that? It's beyond me. It's absolutely beyond me, and it just pisses me off. Absolutely pisses me off. Two families are now burying their kids. Kids that may have been in a bad situation and tried to turn it around by going to this school. They were trying to change. And they got murdered. And the man that was trying to help them got shot for it. It's disgusting. And that's not even counting now this bill that got ramroded through the legislature last night, in the middle of the night, by the way, in the middle of the night. Let's review that. So the school voucher law. Everybody on here knows I've talked about my dad, Melvin. I remember Dad would watch TV or whatever, and there'd be a commercial, and the commercial would say, call now for special pricing or whatever. And my dad would say, you know why they don't put the price on the commercial? You know why they don't tell you what the price is? Because they're not proud of it. They're not proud of it. If they thought it was a great price and a great bride, they'd fucking tell you, right? Think about that. Think about that. If you watch a television show or you watch an infomercial or something like that, and they're not telling you how much it is, it's expensive. And there's some hidden fees or whatever, right? The Republican-controlled House and Senate in the state legislature changed the rules for this bill specifically so that it wouldn't go through appropriations. Appropriations is an independent way and a partisan way to look at a bill and see what the financial impacts are of that bill. They changed the rules so that wouldn't have to be done. Why? Why did they do that? What good comes of that? Somebody's got to tell me, because nobody's been able to tell me. Why wouldn't you want to know what the financial impacts of that are? And I've said it for the last week and a half since this debate's been going on. If it's such a great deal and it's such a great program, why all the secrecy? Why did Governor Reynolds during the primary against her own party's people that didn't support her the last time? People on her own side didn't support her. Why? Why is outside people making decisions for Iowans in their education? There's a PAC in Miami, a hedge fund that financed all of the advertisements in Iowa to get the Iowa educational system changed for vouchers. Why? Ask yourself why an outside group that has nothing to do with Iowa is so concerned with Iowa education. Why? Why is that? Nobody can tell me. I mean, goodness sakes, even the Rural Farmers Association yesterday came out. It's a group that looks out for the best interest of farmers in rural Iowa, came out against the voucher because they said it will continue to drive people out of the rural areas because of lack of education and lack of options. This whole everything's equal and everything else is bullshit. It's total bullshit. It is designed specifically for people that are the ultra wealthy that are already spending money on private schools, which is their right. Listen, Dad wanted to send me to a private school a lot of times. He couldn't afford it. Those people are already paying. They're going to take that tax credit or whatever, and they're going to turn around and just put it aside and then pay for their kids' college anyways, which is the whole thing that the Republicans are against. God forbid we wipe away a little debt for people that it's the same thing. I'm so pissed off about it. It's not even funny. Let me tell you something. This all started because the Des Moines public school system basically told her, we're going to do what we want, what we think is best for our students, right? And this whole narrative about, well, the parents were taken out and the parents didn't have a choice and whatever else. First of all, when they closed the schools initially, I hate to break it to everybody, that wasn't the Democrats. Trump was in office. He closed everything down. Governor Reynolds closed down businesses. Let's not forget history. She closed down businesses for 6 weeks at the beginning of the pandemic because nobody knew what the fuck was going on. She then proceeded to tramps around all over Iowa, drawing crowds, campaigning with Trump in big fucking rallies, and then turned around later in the summer and closed businesses again. And then said Iowans weren't doing the right thing. And lots of businesses got hurt and lost their business because of that. She traipsed around and flaunted her nose at science and everything else, and then turned around and closed your businesses down. So this whole narrative that you don't have control, you know what it's called? It's called parent-teacher conferences. You take your ass to your kids' parent-teacher conference. You sit in there, you ask the teacher, you work with the teacher. Every single teacher that I know will sit down and work with a parent. They would beg to work with a parent. But the majority of the parents sit around with their thumb up their ass. The ones that bitch and moan. Now, again, I'm not generalizing everybody, okay? I get that. But I've seen plenty of parents that have bitched and moaned, and I also know those same parents never went to a parent-teacher conference. They didn't go to a PTA meeting. They sure as the fuck didn't vote in a school board meeting. Why is the school board elections the most unparticipated election? Why? If it's so damn important. So your kid had to wear a mask during school. Give me a fucking break. All right? Do I think the superintendent of the Des Moines Public School Systems did a bang-up job? No, I don't. I think he did what he thought was best for his staff and his students at the time. And instead of taking away funding like she did and ramroding this fucking voucher bill down everybody's throat, that by the way, the majority of Iowans didn't want, even though they voted these people in there because they're single voter issues. So then, now you're stuck with it, right? What are you going to do? Millions of dollars are now going to flow out of the public school system. What are you going to do? And it's not like it's a surprise because she's been talking about it for 3 years. 3 years she's been talking about it. So there you go. Congratulations, Iowa. And I'll say this the same way I said in 2016. I don't blame Donald Trump for being president. I blame the Democrats for electing somebody that was so unelectable in Hillary Clinton that they looked at Donald Trump and thought, hell yeah, let's take that guy, regardless of how qualified she was. She had so much baggage on her that there was nothing that was going to work. And we did the same thing in Iowa. I don't know Deidre DeGier. I couldn't tell you what her policies were. I hadn't even heard of her until she ran for governor. She was a terrible candidate. Not because she was a woman, not because she was African American, none of that. It was because I didn't know who the fuck she was. I had never heard of her before. Where did this person come from? And that whole ad of her not standing when they're cheering in the legislature for first responders and police officers, you're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. You don't lump every single police officer in with some bad ones that didn't do their job and are shitty at their job. You know what? The majority of the police officers that I know are amazing men and women. And you know what else? They hate those people just as much as you do. But to sit there on your ass and not clap in response to first responders, you're a fucking idiot. And you cost yourself the election because of that. Jesus. See, have my whole cup because I'm raging this morning. So there we go. This is what this podcast is sometimes. This is what this 15 minutes is. It's shit that I've had bottled up for 2 days. Again, they ramrodded a bill through legislature by changing all the rules and then passed it in the middle of the night. And now she's going to sit up there. I guarantee this is what's going to happen. She's going to have a little photo op with all these students sitting around her, just like she did when she attacked LGBT kids about some fake ass thing where, I don't know, we were transgender teens were going to take over the track teams. Like, give me a break. You don't lead from fear. And that's what she does. And I've said it 100 times. I love the people in my life and my family and my friends that may have voted for her or support her. Fine. Doesn't make me love you any less. Doesn't make me care about you any less. Doesn't make me think that you don't know what you're talking about, or that you're against LGBT kids, or that you're against public schools. You voted for what you think is right, and that's okay. I still love you. I still care about you. We're still friends. Doesn't mean that I agree with her. As much as I respect what your opinion is, I would hope that you would respect mine. And with that, we're going to peace out. We're going to have a good day. Love you guys. Have a great night.